So with the transplant, when my kidney rejected, I gave up on a transplant.
Okay.
What I went through when I lost the transplant, including losing my faith, I said to the doctors, I don't want to go through this again. I made a decision to say, I will die on dialysis. I'm happy dying on dialysis than go through what I went through. I think my greatest fear with getting a transplant is the fact that I lost my faith in the process.
Okay.
Now, we'll talk about that, but I said to the doctors, I don't want to have another transplant. The doctors have tried to persuade me, change my mind, and I said, no, give all the other patients a chance. I've had a chance at this, and honestly, I'm happy dying on dialysis.
Hey everyone, welcome to yet another episode of Speak to Inspire, Motivate and Empower. I am your host, Lucia Khetwane, and joining me today is Vuyisa Magidela, also known as Sicklifething.
Yeah.
Hi V.
I'm good.
Ah,
I
man.
am happy to be here.
It's good to see you. I'm happy that you honored the invite. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming.
Okay, you guys welcome.
Yeah, it's just a short introduction on who V is. Who am I sitting with?
You are sitting with Vuyisa Magidela. I think I am known for spreading positivity
Yeah.
and for sharing my journey of living with a chronic illness because I share a lot of my videos online on social media of how I am living with the condition. I'm on dialysis.
Oh, okay.
So I am living with chronic kidney disease. Both my kidneys are not functioning, and unfortunately, I am on dialysis. So I think a lot of people know me because of the videos that I
Yeah,
share.
yeah.
I share my day-to-day
Yeah.
journey.
And that's so inspiring. You know,
Thank
it's
you.
it's very inspiring. And the reason the name Sick Life Thing.
I think the name came about, I'm just doing the sick life thing. You know, it's me doing the sick life thing with grace and gratitude. You know, the bits and bobs, even though I'm in the midst of being sick and going through all these things, I am doing the sick life thing. But while I have gratitude and with grace. So it came about that.
Sure. And how old were you when you got diagnosed?
I think, well, the truth is, when I'm looking back, because I had a conversation with the doctor, I said, is it normal for a 2-year-old to have blood pressure?
2.
2-year-old. They said I had hypertension at the age of 2. But then as I grew older, I was like, as I understood what hypertension was, I had a conversation with the doctor. And I said, how possible is it for a 2-year-old to have
Like,
high blood pressure? And the doctor was like, chances are you were probably born with kidney problems, but it only took your parents at a later stage for them to notice there's something wrong with you. You know, so I generally think I was born with it, but they only found out when I was about 2 years old. That's when I was properly diagnosed at 2. That's when I started taking medication for hypertension at 2.
V.
Yeah. And eventually, remember, hypertension and sugar diabetes are the number 2 leading things that cause kidney disease.
Okay.
So my kidney disease, my kidneys failing, it is due to long-term hypertension. So when I was diagnosed at the age of 2, when I was 13, 11 years later, it took a toll on my kidneys. And eventually my kidneys stopped working. But it's due to the fact that I had hypertension at a very young age,
Okay.
secondary to hypertension.
And when your parents found out, how did they take it?
Well, I think when I was about 6, 7, my parents divorced. I only have a lot of memories of how my mom took it.
Oh.
And I always say that I always think that I'm stronger than my mom. My mom was a wreck. She was an emotional wreck. I think it hurt my mom that, there were 4 of them. And I was the second cousin to be born. There were 4 of us. And out of the 4 kids, I was the one that was sick. And all the other cousins were okay. And when I think back, it used to frustrate my mom that her child is not able to play with other cousins out there. And she would be so frustrated. I know that we tried a lot of things to try and get me better because of what my mom's friends would suggest to her to say, "Oh, say ngwana ko kae kae, zama ing," because my mom, I mean, as a parent, you want your child to be better, so you'll try everything.
Yo.
You know, but I know that my mom, it used to make her cry. She used to cry a lot. And I just know it was hard for her, especially because I was the only child.
Do you think it stole some of your childhood, probably playing and,
Of course, my condition stole a lot from me. I still say, I was making a video recently about being a late bloomer, you know, and I remember small things like dating. You know, there's stages when you grow up, there is stages where now you want to be noticed. Now this is the time for you to go through your menstrual cycle. Now you're growing boob. Now you want to change how you dress. And with me being sick most of my childhood, I remember being swollen most of the time. I remember being in and out of hospitals. I remember when my cousins went to normal schools, I had to go to a hospital school. You know, so when also that, I mean, impacted me badly to say, I want to go to a normal school. I want to do normal things that normal girls do. I want to go in my menstrual cycle. I want boobs. I want all of these things. So remember being a chronic patient with a condition like this, everything is just so slow.
Yeah.
I started my menstrual cycle after I had a kidney transplant when I was 17 years old.
Sure.
So I was waiting on them to say, no, I want my periods now. So it may be not nice for other people, but as you go, and you're growing, it's something you look forward to.
Yeah,
And if you're not granted the opportunity to go on your menstrual cycle, it hurts you because now you want it, you know?
Sure.
So definitely some of my childhood memories consist of things that I wanted to do but couldn't because of my condition.
Yovi, I mean, you're just a teenager and you're going through all that. Was there ever a time where you were like, you know what, I am tired of this. Like, I can't take it anymore. I can't go through this as young as I am. I need to play with other kids. There are things that I need to do. Was there ever a time whereby you felt like, you know what, God, just take me?
Yeah, there was a lot of times where I felt like that. I think it got worse when I lost my mom.
Oh.
Because I think a year or two before my mom died, they called us in at the hospital to say she's going into renal failure. Her kidneys are going to fail. She needs to start dialysis. And my mom refused me to start dialysis, to say, I'm not going to have a child who's going to start dialysis. My child would not go on those machines. And only after my mom died, I started dialysis. The doctors then called again to say, we're still saying the child needs dialysis. And my grandparents said, do whatever you need to do to save her life. So I only started dialysis after my mom died.
Okay.
So remember, before my mom died, I was on medication and I had to go to the hospital every second Tuesday of the month for checkup. But my journey was not as hectic as it was after I started dialysis, because dialysis is life-changing. It changes your life in a whole lot of aspects. The complications that come with being on dialysis are too much. You know, all the pipes they put on our bodies, the time that we spend at the hospital, our life revolve around hospitals.
Okay.
So I think it got harder after I lost my mom. Because I mean, going to a normal school and not having your mom and just going for a checkup is what I was used to.
Yeah.
But now, when my mom died and I had to start dialysis and I had to change schools, now everything was different, you know. And at some point, I was just like, when they said that I needed a kidney, and I felt like my mom's not there, my dad already passed, I didn't have any biological brothers or sisters, and I needed a kidney transplant. And I just felt like, why am I here? Both my mom and dad are gone. I don't have a brother. I don't have a sister. I'm here. My quality of life is not so great. Why am I still here? And I think it was in 2011 when I did an article with True Love magazine, a success story. And I remember when I was reading the article, I had tried to commit suicide 3 times by the time I was 17 years old, because I was just so tired. It's tiring. The journey gets tiring. I always say to a lot of people that inbox me to say, V, how do you do it? V, you're so positive. V, I said, it has not always been like this.
Yeah.
I've been in the darkest moments of my life. I had to make a decision to say, I'm tired of feeling sorry for myself. I'm tired of being depressed. I'm tired of being in this dark hole. If a lot of people are trying to explain to people what chronic means, it basically means permanent, reoccurring, something that continues to go on and on. So if you are diagnosed with a chronic illness, it means that's how your life is going to be. You need to make a decision to say, V, if you have a chronic illness, are you going to feel depressed for the rest of your life? Do you want to live your life sad and in this hole for the rest of your life? Because you've tried to kill yourself and you're not winning. You're still here. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. Hey, so it's all up to an individual, to
It's
shift.
all up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To shift and see things on a positive way or any other way, but just shifting from negativity.
Yeah. But what people need to understand is we all start there. I mean, if you were diagnosed with a condition, it's hard. I always say it's harder for people who've lived their life normally and they were later diagnosed at a later stage because now you've created your whole lifestyle. You are used to living your life like this. You're used to going on holiday. You're used to taking on alcohol, whatever. With me, I feel like it's a bit easier because I've always been sick. So it's not like I know a normal life. I don't know a life of parties. I don't know how it feels to be drunk. I don't know because I've been sick all my life. So I always say that it's your decision to decide, okay, cool. I'm given this condition here. I'm now diagnosed with this thing. The best thing you can do for yourself is to learn as much as you can about it so you feel like you're in control a little. And then after what you do going forward, you can't feel sorry for yourself for 5-6 years, Goffel. The first few years, you're expected to be depressed, to try and find a way around it, to try and to figure out what this is. We try and understand if I'm having Coke, what does it do to my body? If I'm going out, what does it do? You're trying to figure out this new life. As soon as you've grasped everything and now you understand, I'm not allowed to do this, I can't do this, I can do this. If I do this, this is what happens. Now you're figuring out what's going on. And thereon, going onwards, you make a decision to say, now this is my life. Now I know this. Now I have to stop this. Now this is this and whatever. And you move forward. But you can't stay in the same position where now you're crying all the time. You're depressed all the time because of a condition. You understand? You get to a point where you have to accept and you have to choose to live your life positively.
Sure, yeah. Your journey. And was there any point, at some point, you were like maybe angry at God and you felt like, God, where is God in the midst of my pain?
A lot of times.
Because I know that most of the times when we go through stuff, heavy stuff, and, it feels so dark. It feels like there will never be a time where you get out of that darkness and you start questioning God, like, God, where are you? And at that time, that's the time he feels so far. That's the time you can't even hear him, like he's so far. But that's the time he's actually working. But with us, we feel like, where are you?
It takes you to grow spiritually, to understand that suffering does not mean that God doesn't love you. It took me a long time to understand that, V, you're not going through all these things because God doesn't love you. Because remember, as people, we want to understand things logically. We want things to make sense to us because we are human. Like, for instance, I have a chronic illness. My mom dies. My dad dies. I don't have a sister. I don't have a brother. What's going on? Out of all the cousins, doesn't it make sense for me to have my mom because I'm going through this journey? So a lot of times we want things to make sense to us because we want things to make perfect sense, logical sense to us. So to know, wakula, need a mama high. So let her have her mom. And we don't know that God is understanding her. If you have me, you don't need your mom. Your mom was only used as a vessel to bring you here. You only need me so that at the end of the day, your testimony should give me all the praise. I'm not going to say my mom was there. I'm not going to say
Yeah.
thank you to my mom for being there for me. I'm going to say thank you to God for giving me the strength, because he understood that I can do this with just him. You know, so a lot of times I used to say, I'm sick, I don't have a mom, I don't have a dad. If I had a sister, if my brother was here, they would give me a kidney. Why would you put me in this position when you know that I don't have anybody? Why? All these things. Until I grew and I understood, you don't need your mom. Out of all the 4 cousins you're comparing yourself with, God chose you because he understood that you were strong enough to live this journey. So there's nothing wrong. You don't need the people you're counting. You don't need a sister. You don't need whatever. God will sustain you with strength. And that's all you need. And I mean, if you interviewed me years ago, I would have given you a different answer. My answer is like this because I understood that even though I lost my mom and I lost my dad and I don't have this and whatever this, that's not the point. The point was, out of all 4 people that I was comparing myself with, God trusted me with this journey. And he sustained me with the strength that now I am sharing with other people who are finding me inspiring and are drawing strength from me. I also never thought that somebody would look at me and say, V, I draw strength from you. But this is God who understood before I even understood that what he's doing with my life.
Good God, good Father.
So I've learned we don't question God. When you're going through a dark hole, it's easy for us to question God because we don't understand.
Yes.
But once you are spiritually stable, once you've decided to take on and make a decision to say, I am not in control. I'm trusting God with my life.
Yeah.
We don't ask God questions anymore because we are not in control. We don't have to understand things logically. We may look at things with the physical eye and they don't make sense, and that's okay because we are not in control. Because God sees further. If he understands, if he knows what he's doing, that's enough.
Yeah, and we always want to rush him. We always want
Because
to...
according to my plan and according to my knowledge, if I don't get before there, it doesn't make sense.
And we want to be one step ahead of him, knowing very well that that step won't be a good step for us because he knows what's best for us. So, man. And for people, maybe probably people who were never born with kidney disease, people who just recently, found out, or what are the things that they can look into to know that, okay, this needs serious attention?
So we are talking about symptoms of kidney disease.
Yeah.
Well, the main thing that I always say is, in most cases, if the family, like I made a video about, if in your family, you've got your grandmom, your aunt, your uncle, or your mom, your parents, with hypertension. Hypertension is basically high blood pressure and sugar diabetes. Remember those, like I said before, those are the 2 leading things that cause kidney disease.
Yes.
So already, if now you're in a family, enhaling hypertension or tswekere, you're already at risk. So it would help you to look after yourself.
Yeah.
Because like I said, my kidney disease is it's due to hypertension.
Okay.
So because of high blood pressure that I had and my family had, in the end, I had kidney disease. So if you are in a family of high blood pressure, tswekere, you are at risk of having kidney disease. So it would help you to look after yourself, avoid substances, avoid alcohol, avoid exercise if you can, and look after yourself. And also another thing is over-the-counter medication.
Okay.
Every time I see anybody with an energy drink, I'm always the first one to say, stop. That's too much and it's putting a strain on your kidneys. Energy drinks, stay away from.
Okay.
Because most of the symptoms would be, if you have it already and you don't know, you'll experience difficulty with breathing. Some experience nose bleeding. Some experience being swollen. You find fluid accumulating on your ankles. A puffy face. Most of the time you go to the toilet a lot at night. You'll be passing urine more than you should or less than you should. Sometimes when you pass urine, in your urine you'll see bubbles, a lot of bubbles. This is protein coming out too much in your urine. And your urine is not clear.
Okay.
Like too dark,
Yeah.
foamy, backache. Some people experience backache. Some people experience restless nights. I know a lot of people struggle to sleep at night. But I mean, those symptoms are in line with other symptoms. They could be
Yeah.
related to other things. I mean,
Yes.
nose bleeding could be that you're experiencing something. The best way is for you to just go to a local, GP,
Yeah,
and
GP,
do a
yeah.
kidney function test, just so you know where you are.
Okay,
Yeah.
and what do you eat? Are you like, do you have something specific
Yeah.
when it comes to
Renal,
food?
a lot of renal patients on dialysis are put on low sodium diets.
Okay.
And the reason why is because most of us are hypertensive. So renal BP, renal high blood pressure. So if you've got high blood pressure, you are put on low sodium diet. That's why we're not allowed to have table salt. We must have takeaways in a moderate way. We must not, it's less spices, anything that's low sodium,
Okay.
because we're trying to maintain a high blood pressure to stay normal. And if you try not like this is wrong for a renal patient. I get a lot of questions.
I was about to ask, hurry, and then Coke.
Coke is definitely wrong, even for when you don't have kidney problems. The amount of sugar, the caffeine in this is extreme. But unfortunately, I am addicted to Coke, and I love Coke, and Coke makes me happy. But the difference with me is that I always say this to my TikTok followers to say, a lot of people ask me, "V, you're a renal patient, you're on dialysis, but you drink a lot of Coke." And I said, fortunately for me, I always say this is just God's grace. He knew that I love Coke and was like, you know what? Manaka, don't worry about it. You can
you.
can have some Coke. So with me, remember the reason why we are on dialysis is because our kidneys cannot filtrate toxins. Remember, your kidneys are responsible to remove fluid from your body and to clean up the toxins. So everything you put in your body, they go through filtration, and the kidneys are the ones saying, okay, V drank some milk. We need the calcium for the bones. They distribute the right stuff where they need it.
Okay.
The excessive stuff the body doesn't need, the kidney excretes.
Yeah.
So now, if I'm a renal patient with kidneys that are not functioning, every time they connect me on dialysis, the dialysis is the one that says, okay, she's had Coke, she's had acha, she's had whatever, chips and sodium and whatever in the body. We are excreting everything from her body. So the phosphate, Coke has phosphate. It's high in phosphate. Yes. So the dialysis machine will remove the phosphate from my body and every other patient. But with me, we don't understand why. The stuff that the dialysis machine is meant to be removing is less in my body. So me drinking Coke generally would have been a problem for any other patient. But with me, it's not a problem because it's not doing anything to me. My phosphate in the body, my potassium in the body is low. Renal patients are not allowed to have banana, but I'm allowed to have banana. Renal patients are not supposed to have milk, or milk is high in potassium in phosphate. This is high in phosphate as well. But I'm allowed to have those because in my body, the phosphate and the potassium are too low. Then I'm actually getting supplements to increase my potassium in the body. So nobody understands why. I remember at one point they called me in, the sister in charge, to say, V, you need to tell us what you're doing because you can share with other patients. And I said, Mommy, what do you mean? And she said, it's not normal. We took your bloods for the second time because we thought there was a mistake in the lab because your bloods are too normal for somebody with kidneys that are not functioning. And I said, there is nothing that I'm doing different. I don't know what's going on. And I just knew that it's grace.
True.
A lot of people ask me, V, Coke? And I said, it's okay. I've explained. I have a whole playlist, Coke, on my TikTok explaining to say Coke does not do anything to me. I drank Coke in front of my dietitian, in front of my doctors, in front of the nurses on dialysis because I'm allowed to have Coke and all the other wrong stuff because they're too low in my body.
Yeah.
That's why I get away with having Coke.
Yeah, you me, wow.
It's just divine favor.
Wow. Shoo. So, any transplant?
So with the transplant, I when my kidney rejected, I gave up on a transplant.
Okay.
What I went through when I lost a transplant, including losing my faith, I said to the doctors, I don't want to go through this again. I made a decision to say, I will die on dialysis. I'm happy dying on dialysis than go through what I went through. I think my greatest fear with getting a transplant is the fact that I lost my faith in the process.
Okay.
Now, we'll talk about that, but I said to the doctors, I don't want to have another transplant. The doctors have tried to persuade me, change my mind, and I said, no, give all the other patients a chance. I've had a chance at this, and honestly, I'm happy dying on dialysis. Until I met my ex-boyfriend.
Okay.
So I know there's a video that I put up where my ex-boyfriend tried to give me his kidney. You know, he was like, you can't tell me you love me.
Brave
and
move.
What a brave move. Because when we had a conversation about it, he said, I'm considering giving you my kidney. And I said, no, man, don't worry about it. I'm happy on dying on dialysis. And he said to me, but you are contradicting the fact that you love me. How do you say you love me and you're okay with just dying like that when I can actually help you? And I was like, no, you know? And then he secretly went behind my back to go and test, and he was an actual match.
Wow.
And unfortunately, we broke up.
Okay.
But he's the reason why I changed my mind and I'm now considering getting another transplant.
Okay.
Besides the fact that he did that for me, even though we're not together again, I still want to go on with the transplant. Even though I'm not going to get it from him, I'm putting myself on the list again for another opportunity of a cadaver donor, an anonymous donor. Because the previous transplant that I had was from an anonymous donor. So if you've worked yourself up, you can be on the transplant list. And whatever happened, I mean, I've waited, a lot of people wait for years and years before they can get an opportunity. But at least when you're there, if an opportunity comes, you can be called in to say there's an opportunity for you to get a kidney transplant. So I'm currently on the list waiting for another opportunity to get a transplant. Yeah.
I hope you get one.
I hope so too.
Yeah, I hope you get one. And the one that you had, what made it fail?
Yeah.
Is it?
So it had an obstruction. So I'm going to try and paint a picture. So these are kidneys here.
Yeah.
And then we've got ureters. The ureter is the tube that transports urine from the kidney to the bladder. And then we've got the bladder, and then we've got the urethra. So then the kidney does the function of cleaning up, filtrating, and doing everything that's needed to be done.
Yeah.
And then this tube carries the urine, and this is when you feel pressed. When the urine gets to the bladder, this is when you feel pressed. So with the transplanted kidney, they gave me, they said it was a white man who was in his 50s that had put down to say, yeah, now if anything happens to him, he wants to donate his organs. And I was fortunately one of the recipients who got one of his kidneys. And it came in, and instantly the kidney started working. They called me in, and I was there, the operation. I had a complication, but then they fixed it, and then things went well. But then I think a year later, I had an obstruction where this tube that transports urine from the kidney to the bladder blocked.
Oh.
So obviously with the tube blocking, all the urine that's supposed to go to the bladder gets stuck in the way and cause the kidney to have infection. And the doctor tried to fix that. They put in a stent. They did that. In the end, the stent was so the ureter was so badly damaged, they had to take a ureter from my old kidneys to put it in the front. And in the end, the kidney went through a lot of trauma with all of that happening. And in the end, we had to give up the kidney, and I had to go back on dialysis.
Sure. Wow. Okay. But I'm just glad that you are considering,
Yeah. Besides the fact that my ex-boyfriend talked me into it. I mean, long-term dialysis is, it's having a toll on my bones. I already have arthritis on both my knees. And being on dialysis is good for us because it does the functions of a kidney, but also the difference between your kidney and the dialysis machine is that the dialysis machine is man-made. So unlike the kidney, when God created the kidney, he knew that the kidney will say, you need this, you don't need this. You need this, we'll excrete, we'll discard this, we'll do whatever. But with the dialysis machine, because it's man-made, it even removes the stuff that we need on our bodies. So being on dialysis, it will not only remove the toxins from my body, but it will also remove the calcium that I need. It will also remove the other electrolytes that are good for my body. That's why sometimes we need to get supplements to help us. Because yes, the dialysis machine is helping us, but it's also doing bad to our bodies. So in the end, a lot of us have problems with our bones because of calcium deficiency, that the machine takes away everything, even the stuff we need from our bodies. So yes, it's helping us, but it's also bad for us. So a kidney transplant is the best option.
Sure. So throughout your journey, how was the support, from people around you? Your parents are no more, and now it's your grandparents that are looking after you. And are they still alive now?
Yes, my grandparents are still alive.
Oh, great.
So I think my biggest support are my grandparents. I think more than anything, I'm grateful that my grandparents, they've been there for me. I mean, they're old. The support is not the same because they can't always be physically there. I can't expect them to run around and always be there when I need them.
Yeah.
But being able to pick up the phone post-surgery and say, Daddy, dintho di tsamaela hantle ke right. Things are okay. And just my granddad praying for me on the phone and my grandmom telling me that I'm going to be okay. They can't wait for me to come home. I think that's the biggest support I've had.
Wow. And friends?
I've had friends. I think having friends at the hospital. I think the nurses at the hospital are also my biggest support. I can't stress enough how the nurses at the hospital have been my greatest support. More than anything, I have...
Can I have toilet paper, please?
I get emotional because just yesterday at the hospital, the nurses were getting awards for how supportive they are to the patients. And I remember I said, I want to say something because I'm just so grateful for their support.
Yeah.
I think my grandparents, I think the patients at the hospital, I think the nurses at the hospital have been my greatest support. I have cousins, I have family members and everything, but the support that I get from the hospital, thank you so much. I get emotional because this is like, with the nurses, I can't stress enough. Sorry.
Sure. It's okay.
So in short, my grandparents have been my biggest support. The patients at the hospital, the nurses at the hospital. I go to the nurses with all sorts of problems I have. Financial problems, emotionally. I look forward to going to the hospital when I'm going through a lot because I know I get there and I'll get 10 hugs before I go home from all different... I call the nurses mommies because they're like mothers to me. With everything I go through, the nurses go through it with me. I get to the ward and I cry with everybody. And by the time I go home, I feel a lot better. So besides my grandparents, the nurses are my biggest support system.
I think that's a good thing. When you go through the most, when you need support, along the way, there are just people who get tired that we can't carry you anymore.
Yeah.
But for you to have such support, it's amazing. It's a good thing. And one is assured that you are in good hands. Even when you are at home, you know that, where I am, I know I'm loved. Yeah. I know I'm cared for because of the support that you receive, so.
It's true.
Man.
With the chronic illness, because it's an ongoing thing, remember when if we are sisters and I have a chronic condition, it's known. V is always in hospital.
Yeah.
Ngwana de ke tseng ga motseba o strong hampi ngwana o tlo khutla. Ke la ba o strong hampi because they're so used to me being admitted, going through surgeries and coming back because this is my life.
Yes.
My life revolves around hospitals. So even when I'm going through surgery and I'm scared, there's never that sense of agency. Oh my God, wakula, because this is my life. Like we are used to me being in hospital all the time to a point where it's no longer, oh my God. Where else, if you're my sister and your life does not revolve around hospitals, we get shaken because this is the first time you're in hospitals. What's going to happen? Is she going to make it and everything? So a sense of agency between you and me is two different things.
Yeah.
Because it's my life. I'm revolving around hospitals and surgeries and pipes and all these things. So it's normal to people. But even so, we still need support.
Yeah.
You can never get used to going through surgery. There are people who go into surgery and never come back. And every time you come back, it's a blessing. So it's never a normal thing. But we experience it as renal patients. We know when the support goes to say, I can go through the hospital, be admitted, go for surgery, and nobody comes. And we as renal patients have made this whole thing for ourselves where we support each other because we know that our families have gotten so used to us being so sick that it's no longer scary for them when we're in hospital. You know, but for us, when I'm in hospital, there's anything. Ole, utlale Colgate. If I don't have Colgate, I'll call Ole. Bring Colgate. I don't have noodles. Bring me noodles. We've created like a support system for ourselves to say, if somebody's admitted in hospital, nah, I'm not going to be able to go see the person. Can you go? And the other one will go the other day. The other one will go the other day. If they need something, I'm bringing this. I'm bringing that. And we've created this whole community of caring for ourselves and a whole family of looking after ourselves because we are always there. You know?
Yeah, I mean, you've got each other.
We've got each other.
Got each other. Shoo, wow. So, okay, I hope you don't mind me asking.
Of course.
I see you have tattoos. I know that most people get tattoos
Yeah.
and they have meanings.
Yeah.
So I see that you have a couple there.
Yeah.
And are they part of your journey?
Not really. I think with my tattoos, it's just art.
Okay.
It's just me putting ink on my body to make me look strong, feisty-nyana. But well, it's nothing really hectic or related to my journey. It's just how I decided to look and how I want to look, but not necessarily. I have a kidney on my back.
Oh.
Because at one point I was like, if nobody's gonna give me a kidney, I will get myself a kidney.
It's probably the one carrying you. Who knows?
Hey?
It's probably the one carrying
It's
you.
probably the one clearing.
You'll never know. Like, really, you'll never know.
That's a good point.
You know? Yeah. Ah, man,
Exactly, because what explains all those toxins out of my body?
I mean,
You know, so I was like, you know what? Nobody wants to give me a kidney. I will get a kidney on my body.
yeah, man. Ah,
Yeah.
man. Your story is so inspiring.
Thank you.
And, you know, I wish people can just come out more, you know, and be like you, so that they can never feel alone.
Yeah.
You know, and also to get the support that they need. I mean, so we really need each other. You know, we need to be there for each other. So
Yeah.
I'm so inspired by your journey, and you are one hell of a strong woman.
Thank you.
Wow. And Ahmed, I just wish you all the best. And that kidney is coming.
My kidney is coming.
It's coming. It's definitely coming. Ahmed. You have a podcast, right?
Yes.
Mind telling us a bit about it?
Oh my God, I love this question. So, I enjoy giving health education. And I enjoy sharing bits of my journey. And because of the reaction I got from people, it inspired me more,
Yeah.
you know, to do it in a bigger platform. And I feel like, I mean, there are other people like me. There are other people out there with more inspiring stories. There are other people we can learn from. There are other conditions we don't know of.
True.
That we can learn about. You know, I can do my part with educating people about kidney disease, what dialysis is, what to avoid and everything. But there are other conditions out there that we still need to know about and familiarize ourselves with so we can stop. There are some of the things that we are doing that are leading to those conditions that we don't know of. Having somebody who's going through a condition who can share light so we know is what my podcast is about, is giving other people living with chronic illnesses a platform to share their stories so they can do what I've been doing on my social platforms to inspire other people and share a bit about their journey.
Oh, that's a
You know, and I feel like because I'm in the hospital all the time, I've got doctors, I've got nurses, I've got dietitians, I've got different departments that are willing to help to say, V, if you want to talk about circumcision, I'm here. If you want to talk about HIV, I'm here. Willingly. So I've got all that in my hand. I might as well use it in a positive way to spread awareness and just give education to the people.
Yeah.
And at that, I feel like also, you know, like it's hard for you to learn about conditions when we are talking medical stuff, medical terms, and we're making it also serious and everything. In a general conversation like this is where you learn, because this is where we're relaxed, comfortable, and
True.
it's us being us. We don't have to make things sound formal and hard
Yeah,
and all of that. In a general
yeah.
conversation, we can learn where we're making it fun. I'll dance in front of the dialysis machine. At the same time, you're watching me dance, and at the same time, you're looking at the machine without knowing, and you are learning what this is because it's in a general, playful, relaxed manner. So we bring education in a way that it's not boring to the people, in a way that's not complicated. It's not too serious,
Yeah.
in a very casual, fun way. You know?
Sure. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I can't wait.
I can wait too.
I can wait. There was a guy, there was a guy with huge testicles.
Yes.
And he got a surgery and
Yes.
he's well now. Those are the kind of
I think his name is
thing-
Karabo. Is his name Karabo?
Karabo. I know.
I forgot his name.
I
but
forgot his
in
name.
the
as
end,
well.
he got help
Yes,
and
he
went for
got-
surgery.
Yeah.
And he was helped.
And sometimes people are afraid to come out and because they feel ashamed of their conditions and all that. But, one person is going through this and now it's out there, The other one who's been hiding, not wanting to say anything, they can now come out and say, oh, I'm not the only one, so I can actually get help. And I think also doctors and nurses, they must make things easier for people. I know a lot of people, but what's about the nurse, like they are cheeky, bossy and everything. So I think if we can just try and be kind and help each other.
There are horrible nurses out there, but unfortunately for me, I've experienced gorgeous, loving nurses. But I want to touch base on the whole thing of the reason why people are hiding their conditions. A lot of times you feel the need to hide your condition because you're thinking, but or whatever. I think it changed with me when I realized, you didn't do anything. If you're watching from home, if you've got a condition, as soon as you realize that you did nothing for you to be in this position, the better. Because my kidneys are not working and I did absolutely nothing. So I'm not going to go around taking accountability for something I'm not responsible for.
Yeah.
If I'm sitting here with you and I bash the mic and it breaks, if I need to pay for it, I will do it because it's my fault and I'm taking accountability because Gorobile mic. But for you to not have kidneys that are not working, for you to be sitting on a wheelchair, for you to have a skin condition, what is it that you did? If you didn't do anything, why are you feeling responsible to take accountability for something you didn't do? Why? So if you're coming at me and you're saying, V, why it's easy for me to tell you, babes, I have a condition, and part of the condition means that I have calcium deficiency. And the calcium deficiency is the one that's making my leg like this. I'm not taking responsibility. I'm going through a journey, and this is what my journey is doing. I can't hide because I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't go and jump and break my leg. In that case, what was I doing? I didn't do anything. So if you're out there with a condition and you're feeling like you need to hide, you need to explain, you need to be isolating yourself because people are going to judge you, you need to get to a position where you realize that whatever you're going through, it's a situation you put through. Not because we're not wrong, but it's a situation. This is the life God chooses for every one of us. I may not understood when I was younger why I'm in this situation, but as I'm growing older and I'm realizing the impact that my journey has on people, it's making more sense to me. You understand? And you are going through whatever, maybe somewhere, somehow, there's a purpose, there's something for you to teach somebody, even if it's just one person, it's a difference. So people, I always stress, stop feeling ashamed of things you're not responsible for. I will not take accountability. Breaking a mic, I'll take accountability and pay it because I broke it. But having a condition that I didn't do anything, why am I hiding? Why am I taking responsibility and why am I feeling ashamed? Because I didn't do anything. I'm also in this position. As much as you're surprised looking at me, I'm also surprised looking at my body because I didn't do anything. So that's the first step you can take as somebody who's living with a condition, as somebody who's sick, to say, but I didn't do anything. My eye can't see, I didn't do anything. I can't be ashamed of going around because I didn't do anything to my eye. I don't have hands, I can't walk, I'm on a wheelchair, I was born like this. It's beyond my control. Therefore, I'm not going to take accountability. And you snap out of it and you just choose to live your life positively.
Wow.
You see?
Yeah. About really.
I hope they heard.
They heard you.
I hope they heard. Stop taking accountability for things you're not
Feeling
responsible
sorry
for.
for yourself.
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault. I am in the situation, I didn't do anything. I'm just choosing to live my life and embrace my life with
And
the
you
condition.
are living.
I am just living my life. I got
You
tired.
are living. I'm like, yo, V is living. It's good to watch. It's good to watch. Like, yeah, V is living.
Yeah, I just got tired. It gets tiring to feel sorry for yourself. It gets tiring to be depressed. It gets tiring to look at the situation in the same position all the time. You are sick, and imagine if my TikTok videos about me were about me crying all the time. A lot of people will get tired.
Exactly.
We know you're on dialysis. Yes, shame, man. But not every day.
Ish.
Yeah. We know you've got a condition. We know you can't walk. You're HIV positive. But what you decide to do going forward is up to you. Do you really, really want to live the rest of your life feeling sorry for yourself? Do you really want to minimize the quality of your life feeling sorry? You want one aspect of your life to change and ruin every other aspect of your life. Because just because of sick does not mean I have to feel sorry for myself and not do other things I want to do. Does it have to change the fact that I want to be independent? I want to be in a relationship. I want to go for my dreams. I want to inspire people. I want to podcast. I want to travel. So in a situation, you find ways to work with the problem so it fits in and blends in with everything else. If it means traveling, I can't travel for a whole week. I can travel for 2. You find ways to accommodate whatever that you have and you live with it. If you can't get a job because you're on dialysis, open a small business and work from home.
Yeah.
If on the days you've got a big tummy, wear baggy tops to hide that tummy. On the days you've got puffy eyes and you're swollen, wear glasses and look cool. Find ways to deal with your condition and just move on.
Yeah. And I also believe that positivity can beat the condition.
Yeah.
You get to...
It's all in the mind. If you've got a positive mindset, you can beat the body. It's mind over body, your body. If you tell yourself, I'm well enough to do this, whether you're on like with me, I was telling my friend the other day, I said, a lot of people look at their conditions like it's a disadvantage. But with me, I've seen how my condition can actually work for me. Even when I did voiceovers and I looked online, do you know Weza Matomani? There's this guy, the Dial Direct guy.
Oh, yes.
Weza.
Yes.
And when he's giving training, he's got a voiceover agency where he teaches people how to do voiceovers. And when I looked, people train there, and on the days they train, I'm on dialysis. And I could have decided to say, oh my God, I can't do voiceovers because they train and then now I'm on dialysis, which means I can't go. And I thought to myself, no, man. And I emailed him to say, listen, I'm interested in doing voiceovers, but unfortunately for me, I'm on dialysis.
Yeah.
So is there a way that you guys can accommodate me so I can come and train on the days that I'm available? And me doing that, he personally trained me in his personal studio,
Wow.
because he was so inspired at the fact that I reached out. In that situation, I didn't let my condition hold me back and say, I can't do it because I'm on dialysis. I reached out to say, I'm interested, but I can't do what everybody is doing because I've got days that I need to go to the hospital. Is there a way that you can accommodate me? And what did I get? I got an experience that's more than the other people because I was there with him in his own studio training me. So sometimes it's the way you think about things.
Yeah,
if you're going to think your condition, if you come to me and say, listen, I'm living with the condition, but I want to try this, I have no reason to turn you back. You are inspiring to know that you are still wanting to pursue your dreams, even in the midst of what you're going through. So it's inspiring for people, and people will never reject you because we're not one or we're not you're on dialysis. People will want to help you because they are realizing your condition is not even stopping you from living your life. And they'll be used as vessels to help you. Wow. You see?
Yeah, I think you've said a mouthful, to people who feels like, you know what, I recently found out I have this. I was recently diagnosed with this. Because for some, they see it as a death sentence, like it's the end of the road for them.
Yeah.
So I think whatever that you just shared, will awaken them a bit,
Yeah.
and they are able to get to their senses that what, this is actually not the end for me.
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah. Ah, man, it's so inspiring. Oh, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, man, I'm so happy you came. I'm so happy you came. And yeah, man, I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
I just wish you all the best with that kidney and, life's journey from here going forward. Your podcast. Yeah. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Okay, and you also continue inspiring people and motivating people. We need platforms like this where we can have people come through to invite us. Sometimes we don't even need to see a psychologist or a therapist. I think listening to somebody who's going through something that's similar, and you realize if they can do it, I can do it too. So we do need platforms like that where we can watch and learn from other people. So thank you as well for your podcast.
I'll give you a hug after this. Oh, man. Oh, guys, thank you so much for watching. And that's it for today. And if you do have a story to tell, please just use the information below on the screen, and you'll be one of the people sitting here one day sharing your story that inspires, that empowers, and motivates. Until next time. Mwah.